Dead by Daylight dropped a brand new game mode, and it could be the most unbalanced experience I've ever had in the game. Lights Out mode is no perks, no items, no add-ons, no terror radius, no scratch marks, no side hub information, no progress bars, and of course, no lights. Or I guess less lights. A substantial amount of light has been removed, but not zero lights. Lights Dimmed mode is a pretty interesting concept, bringing some of the horror feel back to Dead by Daylight, but the experience is just odd. Before I dive into Lights Out mode, I have to put out a disclaimer. I think it's pretty cool to have a new game mode in the game. Whether it's trash or not, it's a change of pace, and it's cool to think of all the future game modes that could eventually come to Dead by Daylight. But that doesn't mean this one is successful by any means. As a survivor, you're not gonna win. I'm sorry, that's the reality of it. You're put at such a disadvantage, it's nearly impossible to muster any type of momentum. The killer having no terror radius will have you constantly spinning your camera in order to avoid getting snatched off a generator. The lack of visibility on the map will cause you to turn a corner and walk right into a killer. Because you no longer get any information about what other survivors are doing on the side of the screen, you can't do this little non-verbal song and dance with your teammates in order to work more efficiently. You can't see the progress on the gens you're working on. You can't even see how many gens are left. You have to remember that yourself. I can barely remember what I ate for breakfast this morning. Luckily, you're not going to have to worry about any of that because you won't even get remotely close to finishing 5 gens. There's just so much stacked against survivors. Although you may be able to shake killers a little easier in chase, it doesn't make a huge difference when the imbalance is this strong. Survivors get a small benefit at the start where you can hear generators, which helps you find them in the dark. But once a killer kicks them, the generators will go silent, which adds another level of annoyance when you have to search for them in the dark. It's kind of like that same helpless feeling when you drop your phone between your seat and the center console in a car. So you're flying 70 miles down a highway and you're just fishing your hand in the gap trying to find something. It's that same feeling. I survived only once while playing Survivor in Lights Out mode, and it was only because I got to the gate right after hatch was closed. I think it's only right for behavior to release an equally unfair game mode called Lights On mode. In this mode, killers' auras will be revealed at all times. And even that game mode wouldn't be as unbalanced as this one. The killer experience is completely different, but equally as weird. First of all, yes, I completely dominated every match. Surprise, surprise. I snatched plenty of survivors off gens because they had no idea I was coming. I had several games where survivors didn't even finish a single gen. I had a game where I had 2 P100s in it, and I legit laughed, knowing my bum ass would still crush them. Once you get an ounce of pressure, the game is over. Hook one survivor or injure a few, start kicking gens, game over. If you can make all the generators silent, it's damn near impossible for them to come back because now you have one more advantage over the survivors: knowledge. Killers have their own special abilities, and I'm not gonna lie, some of them seem a bit unfair. Let's talk about Plague for a quick second. One of the biggest and basically only advantages to playing Survivor is having no scratch marks. With Plague, you can get everyone infected, coughing and throwing up to a point where you don't need scratch marks, you can just listen for them. Killers like Doctor can use their static blast to see where survivors are, and he'll get visual cues when the survivors are in madness. It's crazy that some killers can stack the deck even more in their favor by basically eliminating any potential balance there would have been. Lunge killers like Wesker, Demogorgon, and Pig are really strong because you can lunge out of the darkness at unsuspecting victims. Trapper is deadly because no one can see his traps. You know what? Basically every killer is good, except Hillbilly. The poor guy's still struggling. The weirdest thing about Lights Out mode, I had multiple games where survivors started hiding in lockers to extend the game. This is what this game mode has come to. Look, I'm not trying to be a pessimistic Pat. I'm not trying to be a little negative Nancy, or even an unhappy Olga. I'm just trying to be a realistic Randy. Behavior, thank you for the change of pace. I think it's super cool what you guys are cooking up over there. I'm excited for all the future game modes, but I'm not playing this one again. Well, I will, but only to finish up the tome. Or can I do the tome in normal queue? Somebody let me know in the comments. I think the intent of this game mode was to bring back some of the horror vibes to Dead by Daylight, maybe slow down the game a little bit, encourage more of a stealthy gameplay, but the result was pretty far from that. It's just solo squads getting wiped at 5 gens and Swifts getting wiped at 4 gens only because they were able to knock out one before shit hit the fan. Makes me kind of miss perks a bit. You may miss all the killer perks that start with the letter A. So you can watch my haters guide on all killer perks that start with the letter A right here.